Chapters 7 and 8 focus on instructional strategies that can be used to provide differentiated instruction within the classroom. And many of the examples they gave involve the use of technology as an alternative to so-called traditional media. And many of the tech examples they give also provide further opportunities for differentiation within them. So I want to demonstrate some of the technological differentiation strategies that I've applied in my most recent classroom context, the Dakota Lakota Summer Institute, which this year had to be delivered entirely online because of the public health crisis. And although the circumstances narrowed our audience to those with access to technology, generally a younger population, our students continue to vary greatly in terms of background, interests, and needs. And the paradigms of diversity in our student body include, but aren't limited to, the dialect that they're interested in, whether that's Lakota, Western Dakota that's spoken at Standing Rock and Fort Peck, or Eastern Dakota spoken further out east into South Dakota and Minnesota. They also differed in terms of technological literacy, their proficiency in the language, whether they'd grown up with the language or how many years of classroom experience they had learning it. That's closely tied to generation too. We have elders, we have that generation that are not necessarily speakers but are fluent understanders. We have a lot of young mothers, youth, so the age range is quite vast. Cultural background too. Did they grow up on the res? Did they grow up elsewhere? Are they enrolled at Standing Rock? Are they enrolled at another tribe? We have a few non-native students too. The learning styles that they're most comfortable with, visual learners, auditory, kinesthetic, and of course they differ in their purpose and motivation for language learning. Otjókahe is a brand new platform built to facilitate online Dakota Lakota language teaching. And some of the features I built into it give instructors and course designers the ability to provide differentiation in the way that students access and respond to the content. So in terms of the universal design of learning terms, that's the representation and the expression aspects of learning. And the 4 tools that I want to demo are plugins. Plugins compatible with Moodle 3.8, which is the platform that Otjókahe is built on. And they are number 1, the choice plugin. Number 2, the ability to provide both audio and text in a plugin known as the course presentation. Number 3, branching scenarios within that same course presentation. And number 4, multi-lang tags. So let's go to the website and check out what those really mean. This is the homepage of Otjókahe. And we'll look number 1 at that choice plugin. So I'm going to go into one of the courses here. And the choice activity, symbolized by that little check mark, allows you to ask a question and set up radio buttons which learners can click to make a selection from a number of possible different responses, a bit like a poll. And this can be used to allow the class to vote on a direction for the course or to gauge progress, for example. In this transcription course, we've used it to allow students to choose content they want to focus on. They have recordings grouped thematically. Red Cloud Family, there's a few recordings. Children's games, there's a few recordings. Gardening, there's a few recordings. So we have recordings grouped thematically with some info about dialect, origin, speakers involved, length, and so on. And the students can choose a theme to work on or work with over the 2-week course by selecting it in the choice activity. So here they can make even first choice, second choice, depending on those different categories. And the results can be used, as is. We just have a list of students for each category here. And there are also options to divide users into Otjókahe groups. So, for example, a group can share a group chat. I don't have any set up here. Otjókahe groups can be used to grant access to specific activities. They can be used to have students collaborate on assignments. So there's lots of options that can grow out of the use of the choice activity. The second tool I want to look at is the course presentation. I'm going to go into another course here. Course presentations can be used like slides for introducing new content. Let's go full screen here. Just going to skip ahead here. So they can be used for introducing new content, presenting vocab lists, new sentence structures, modeling conversation, and so on. Now, some learners retain new words better after seeing it written down because they have a visual memory, and others learn language better by hearing it over and over again. And the course presentation allows us to overlay text with audio. So here we have la cholia on spemich ichie written out, and when it's clicked on, la cholia on spemich ichie. I don't know if you can hear that in this screen recording, but we can hear the audio that has been overlaid on that word. So the course presentation allows us to overlay text with audio. This way students have the option on whether to focus on the spoken word or the written word, or both. And any text can be overlaid with audio, whether it's a single word, a whole sentence, even an image could have an audio file overlaid with it. So the third tool I want to demo here also exists within the course presentation. So I'm going to edit this presentation we have here. And the tool we're looking at is this anchor tool. And that is one that the course designers can use to link to other parts within the course presentation. And in this way, we can create varied learning branches that deliver different content depending on the learner's interest, to sort of create your own adventure experience. So in this example, students are learning about how to talk about their own language learning journeys and talk about it in Lakota or Dakota. So here we have 5 T words. They're a bit like W words in English: who, what, where, when, why, in the context of telling their language learning story. And students can fill in gaps in their stories by focusing in on an answer that they don't yet know how to give. Most of our students already know how to say some of it, but not all of it. So if they want to focus on taku, what are you learning? I'm learning my language, for example, how to say those sorts of phrases. They can advance to this part of the course, and we do that by, in this case, I want them to progress to the next slide. And I'm just going to overlay that anchor on the word taku. If they want to focus on the next one, takue, meaning why are you learning? So describing your motivations for learning the language. Let's put another anchor in there, and I want them to jump to slide 5. Then I can overlay the word takue. So we can use it as a kind of contents page. You can use it in the middle of a presentation as a sort of fork in the road. So let's have a look at what this looks like to the student. I'm going to come out of the editor here and check it out in the student mode. Alright, so Daku takes me to this part. These phrases mean I'm learning Lakota, I'm learning Dakota. I go back, I want to focus on Dakue, that will take me straight to the reasons why I'm learning. So here we have various different reasons. I'm doing it to understand the songs. I'm learning so that I can understand Grandpa. And so on. The last tool I want to demo is a very versatile tool, and this can be used across the site. So I'm going to go back to my main course page here and just edit any random part of it. So this last tool that I want to show is called Multilang. And with this tool, I can customize the student experience depending on the dialect that they're learning, Lakota or Dakota. And within any part of the site that features a text editor like this, I can type both the Dakota and Lakota variants. So let's choose Daya Yahi Belo. That means welcome in Lakota. And the Dakota is Daya Yahi Bedo. So the only difference here is the ending lo and do. And then I can mark up these variants using multilang tags. So that shows the start of the Lakota variant, and that is the end of it. And this is the start of the Dakota variant, and this is the ending of it. So it takes a bit of planning, and course designers have to learn this tiny bit of code in order to implement it. But on the student side, this is what it will look like. Here it's displaying the Lakota variant, Dayaya Hipelo, and that is because as a student I have the Lakota language selected in my sidebar. So if I was to change that to Dakota, I want to focus on learning Dakota now, I'm going to see Dayaya Hipedo. So this is super useful for things like vocabulary lists, maybe conversations that we're demoing, and in the past, when we've offered Lakota and Dakota in the same vocab list, it could be overwhelming to students, so it's kind of nice to separate it out like that. It's inevitable that there are always going to be students learning Dakota and others learning Lakota within the same class, so this is one way to deal with it. And multilang tags can be used not only for text, but they can be used for presenting specific links to the different language groups. If we have a YouTube video that's in Lakota and we have an equivalent one in Dakota, we can just put our multilang tags around the link, and that will direct them to different places. Those are the 4 tools that I wanted to show within Otjókahe to demonstrate how we are continuing to provide differentiated instruction even in the entirely online context. Otjókahe.